What's up, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. My wife is cooking it up in the kitchen, a little ways from me, so I apologize if you hear some pots and pans banging, but let's get this started. So I wanted to make this video because I get a ton of DMs from people, either from inside my Discord or on my live streams, asking me what they should do as a beginner, or like what pitfalls that I've experienced that I would suggest they stay away from. So I thought this would be a good way to explain the 3 biggest mistakes that I made myself when I was starting out. And these are the same mistakes that I see tons of people making to this day. Even if you aren't new from a time perspective, if you are unprofitable and you've been working at this for, 2, 3, 4 years, then I think you can definitely get something valuable out of this information. So let's jump into it. First up is averaging down into a losing position. I'll be the first to admit that I've done this many times starting out, and I've blown many accounts, lost a lot more money than I'd care to admit. But I reached a point where I finally realized that all the accounts that I had blown till now were mainly due to 1 or 2 bad trades where I kept averaging down until the entire account was gone. Some people have over trading as their biggest issue or biggest struggle. For me personally, my biggest struggle, especially in the beginning, was averaging down into a bad position. On the bright side, this one is probably the most simple one to fix because all you need to do is literally just not click a button, even when your position is in drawdown. Obviously, this isn't as cut and dry as telling someone to not click a button because this is a problem of psychology and emotion, right? We average down into a losing position because we don't want to accept the fact that we were wrong. So our brain justifies it internally and convinces ourselves that we can now add to our position at a better price, at a better entry price, right? However, obviously, majority of the time, that feeling in your brain is just a coping mechanism, which has been developed for thousands or tens of thousands of years of evolution, and your brain training itself over time through generations that it doesn't want to experience pain. Whatever it has to tell itself to say that you're not wrong, it's somebody else's fault or it's the market's fault. You're going to be right. You just have to wait a little more and add some more contracts to your position. That's just an evolutionary response that has been built and bred through a lot of time. So it's totally natural. But obviously, if you want to be a trader, and especially if you want to be a successful trader for the long run, this is a very troublesome issue. My advice for anyone struggling with averaging down would first and foremost be to set a hard limit on the number of contracts that you can take on one position. Whether this is a mental note that you obviously have to actually follow this and stay disciplined, or I believe some brokers allow you to set a maximum position size, so you can do that as well. Also, it helps if you set a stop loss as soon as you enter the trade and respect that instead of, moving it further and further away as the trade goes against you. But at the very least, that could help you not hold a losing position until your account is entirely blown. The second biggest mistake that I see that a lot of newer and unprofitable traders make is that they do not journal their trades. You need to be trading your brokerage account like a business, right? In the sense that if you run a business and aren't keeping track of all the money in, all the money out, which products are losing you money, which ones are your best sellers, your best winners, you have no idea what's working and what's not, right? Long story short. And in the exact same way, if you are a trader and you aren't keeping records of your trade performance, your setups, and your emotions, then there's no way for you to actually know if you're improving or not. Even if your P&L is going up over time, I promise you there's always something that can be improved on, right? Whether it's you're secretly over trading and you just forget about it, you are using more size than you really should be, and you're just getting lucky for a short amount of time. There's a ton of different things that could be going on under the hood, but you have no clue because you don't have any records. There's also a very simple solution to this. Start a journal. Right? I know that most people don't do this, but I know how helpful it was for me personally, and I know how helpful it has been for people around me, friends, my mentors as well. Anyone who's worth listening to, in my opinion, keeps a journal and is very meticulous with the records that they keep on their own performance. So my advice to you would be to start journaling. Whether you use a paid service like TradeZella, I used to use that in the past, and they're very good. If you don't want to pay 30 or 40 bucks a month for a paid tool in order to journal your trades, there's plenty of free templates out there. So just Google it, and you'll be taken care of. The third and final mistake that a lot of newer traders make is strategy hopping. If you've never heard of this term before, it's pretty self-explanatory. This is basically where you bounce around from strategy to strategy, thinking that you just need to know, the secret sauce to becoming a profitable trader. Right? Like a lot of people say, like, what's the secret? What's the one thing that made you profitable? Like, there is no such thing, and a new strategy is one of those things. It's not going to make or break your career. Because the thing is that the strategy itself that people use is a very small factor in terms of what will actually make you succeed in this game. And that's the truth that a lot of people miss, because they think it's all about the strategy, the setup, the indicators, whatever else they want to, their computer setup, their chart colors. But the truth is that the strategy itself is a very small factor. This is a very common misconception that people have, especially new beginner traders, because they will think that, it's all about the strategy, the setup, the indicators. But in reality, that is like 5% of the battle, in my opinion. And the other 95% is either psychological or emotional. Once you find a decent strategy that you understand and you can execute pretty consistently, spend the rest of your time working on your patience, your greed, and other key emotions that are keeping you from consistent success. So that pretty much sums this up. I hope this helps someone out there. Obviously, there are more mistakes than people make that are different than the three that I mentioned, but I believe that these are three of the more common ones. So I wanted to start with those ones in this video. If you're new here, or you've seen my other videos, or my live streams, or you're in the Discord or whatever, please leave a like if you enjoyed this. I'm working on some other videos, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss them. I also have the Linktree link in my description below to the Discord or the live streams or my socials if you care to see that stuff. In the Discord, I trade live every single day, as well as provide a lot of free educational content that I wish I had seen personally when I was starting out. So, especially if you're new, or things aren't working out for you, you can check that out for free, and hopefully it helps you out. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.